What's up, everybody? See if anybody shows up. Let me move my station a little bit so we can see better. Let's see. Hopefully the internet's okay. Hello, single person. Let me just make sure my internet's gonna stay with me while I'm outside. Looks like it is. All right. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo. This is the Metro South online classes. This is Parkour and Freerunning Level 1. As our beginner level class. Today I am outside. You do not need to be outside for today's lesson, but if you can, feel free to do so. Things you'll need. We need enough space to be able to do some rolls, all right? So a few weeks ago or a few classes ago, I taught the shoulder roll, which looks like this. Okay? If you struggled with that shoulder roll, I hope you will be able to get this next skill because we're going to be doing the backwards shoulder roll. All right. Now, the backwards shoulder roll is a lot easier than the backwards gymnastics roll. So if you did a backwards gymnastics roll, you go straight over your head, and it requires a lot of strength to push through your arms in order to get to your feet. With the back shoulder roll, we're actually taking it to the side, skipping our head, going over our shoulder instead, and it makes it a lot easier and a lot smoother. Now you may ask, why would I want to learn a back shoulder roll? Well, it's pretty simple. It's basically going to save you from falling over backwards if you're ever about to fall over. So if you're standing up and you're walking backwards and you trip, you can do a nice back shoulder roll and you're totally fine standing up on the other side. There's a whole bunch of different uses for it, but let's get into today's lesson so that we can get started. We're going to do, as I did last time, we're going to do a very specific warm-up to this skill. So, but before we do that, we'll do a little bit of high energy moving things so that way we can get our blood flowing and our hearts beating. All right, so stand up, find some space around you that you will not hit anything or whack anything. And we're just going to start by jogging in place. All right, lifting your feet up off the floor. Get your arms pumping a little bit. All right, next, jumping jacks. Keep your arms nice and straight. Swing them all the way up. Don't have bent arms like this. You're not doing your shoulders any favors. Arms are straighter. Swinging all the way up. All right, next, we're going to do high knees. So lift your knees up nice and high. Boom, 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 boom. And butt kicks. Kicking your feet behind you for some butt kicks. All right. Next, jog in place. Jog in place. And while we're jogging in place, we're going to swing our shoulders in big circles forwards. So don't stop your feet. Keep them moving. Swing your arms big circles. And backwards. Still jogging in place. Arms swinging backwards. And next, swing arms across the front. Switch which arm goes on top each time. We're still jogging in place. We're still moving. All right. Go ahead and stop. Firmly plant your feet. And let's twist. Very nice. Twist, twist, twist. All right. Standing in a straddle. Reach down and touch one foot. Try to touch it with both hands. Leg stays nice and straight. The other leg also stays nice and straight. You want to keep your head up here. We don't want to go down. Because with our head up, it helps keep our back flat, which is going to make us be in the right position for this. All right. Switch to the other side. Try to touch one foot with both hands. All right, now reach down the middle, try to touch the ground right in between your feet. So imagine there's a line on the floor that goes from one foot to the other in a straight path. Put your hands right on that line or reach for it. All right, stand up nice and tall. Okay, now that you're standing up nice and tall, what I want to do is a little bit of frog jump. So that means we're reaching down, touching the ground. We're crouching all the way. Our butt is almost to the floor, okay? We're down as low as we can. We're gonna jump up high, come back down. You should look like a frog. If you're not green and slimy, then try harder. Just kidding. Yeah. All right, so let's do this 10 times, okay? Reach down, touch, reach down and touch, and jump as high as you can. We can pick up the pace. 9 and 10. Cool. Once you've done them 10 times, we're gonna stay down low like this in our frog position. What I want you to do is take your hands and roll out your wrists. I'm pretty shadowed. I don't know if you guys can see me. Cool, there I am. Roll out your wrists, do the wave. We're still in a low crouch, like a frog. Shake them out. All right, next. The roll is pretty wrist intensive. That means there's gonna be some weight on your wrists. So we're gonna warm up our wrists a little bit more. So down in this doggy position like this, hands and knees, you're gonna put your hands, fingers facing forwards. And you're gonna circle around your hands. You should feel a nice stretch in your wrists. Big circles. And let's switch directions. Let's go the other way. Around and around and around. Woo. Now, take your fingers. I want you to point them in towards each other. We're gonna rock side to side. Side to side. Good. Now take your hands. We're gonna spin around so our fingers are pointing backwards. And we're gonna go into circles again. Pick one direction. We're gonna go around 3 times. And then we're gonna switch directions. Go around 3 more times. 3. Very nice. And now very easily, without causing yourself any injury, we're gonna take the back of our hands and we're gonna put them down on the ground like so. So our palms are to the sky. And we're gonna very gently rock back and forth. And in small circles if you want. Do not put all your weight on your wrists, it will hurt. All right, it's just a gentle rock back and forth with a little bit of pressure, okay? We're just trying to stretch out our wrists so that we're ready for today. Okay, shake them out. Shake them out. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get familiar with a round shape because we're gonna be doing the round shape an awful lot, all right? So, in our doggy position here, we're gonna go into the cow position, which is when we push our back as high as we can, rounding our shoulders, pushing into the ground really hard. And then we're gonna go to a cat position where we arch our back and we try to pinch our shoulders together behind us. And then we're gonna push back up to cow and back to cat, cow, cat, cow, cat, cow, and stay there as a cow. All right. Keep doing the cow position. I want you to stay in the cow position. That position there, when your back pushing up, that is the round shape that we need in order to roll. What rolls better, a ball or a brick? The answer is a ball, if you didn't know. Ball is round, a brick is flat. We need to be round. Cool. All right, let's get to it. This is the level 1 beginner, so we will start nice and easy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a quick refresher on some rolling. And the first way we're gonna do that, so actually before we get going, The grass is kind of soft for me, so it's a good surface to roll on. If you have a panel mat, or if you have a mattress, or if you have a yoga mat, which I have over there just to give myself kind of a flatter surface, or some big pillows, right? So what we're looking for here is something soft to roll on. A carpeted floor should be totally fine, all right? If you're on hardwood floor or a cement floor, you should put something down to make it soft. Okay, that being said, here's my mat. We are going to be working on the backwards roll. But in order to do the backwards roll, we need to do a forwards roll. So what I want you to do is sit down on your bum, like so. We're going to work on rocking and rolling. So I'm going to put myself in a round ball shape here. So I'm rounding, turning into a tiny little ball. And I'm just going to roll backwards and then roll forwards and come right back to this position. So ready? Roll backwards, come right back up. This is a rock and roll. You all should know this. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. Okay? Now what's important here is for the backwards shoulder roll, it's not going to be a straight back roll and a straight roll forwards when we practice. It's actually going to one side, but we'll get into that in 1 second, okay? Right now we're trying to just be really familiar with this round rolling shape, okay? So do this 5 more times. Roll back, roll forwards, back and forwards, back, forwards, 2 more times, back and forwards. Okay, now we're gonna get into the shoulder roll. I'm assuming that you practiced the shoulder roll. I did it, forget what lesson it was. It was 2 or 3, maybe 4 lessons ago. I did a really advanced breakdown of what the parkour shoulder roll is. If you don't know what the shoulder roll is, stop watching this video and go watch that video, okay? Because if you can't do that, you won't be able to do this. Cool. That being said, here we go. I'm going to start at the beginning of my mat. I'm going to do my shoulder roll, all right? We're going to do 5 rolls, okay? So reaching forward, rolling, and trying to stand up at the end, okay? Reach forward, stand up, and freeze. Okay, so each one of these, when you stand up, I want you to freeze right where you were. Freeze. Roll. Freeze. Okay, on this last one, for the 5th one, I don't want you to stand all the way up. Instead, I want you to finish while you're still on the ground and freeze there. So what I mean by that is this. Ready? Roll and stop sitting. Okay? So if you look, I have 1 foot in front, ready to stand up. My other foot is bent. Okay? So we're going to do that again, but let me show you why. Okay? So you're going to roll forwards, freeze on your butt, and we're going to roll, we're going to do rock and roll in the exact opposite way we just came, okay? So ready? I roll forward, freeze, rock and roll, and back, okay? So we're rolling on our back twice, we're only going over our head once. So it's roll forwards, roll back, roll forwards, all right? We'll call this one the roll, then the rock and roll. So roll, then rock and roll. We're gonna do this like 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 times, okay? Because if you can't get this just yet, you won't be able to get the backwards roll, okay? So reach and roll, don't come up, rock and roll. All right? One more time, here we go. Reach and roll, rock and roll. All right. Practice that a few more times. Pause this video. Practice that. Roll forwards with our shoulder roll, freeze, and then rock and roll in the exact same direction you came from. So that means you're not going straight back to your head like we did the first time where we come here. Instead, we're rolling starting from this weird shape and we're going at an angle. So check it out. Okay? Hopefully you guys can see that, right? So I'm rolling forwards and then I'm rock and rolling slightly to the side, just like I did with the shoulder roll. All right? If that makes sense to you, we can move on. If that doesn't quite make sense to you, what I want you to do is just practice that shoulder roll a whole bunch so you get familiar with this shoulder to hip action, all right? So what that means is as I do my shoulder roll forwards, I'm going off of my right shoulder. I'm gonna end up on my left hip. Ready? Right shoulder, left hip is towards the ground, all right? If you use your left shoulder, it should be your right hip. Once I'm here, I'm putting my left hip back on the ground. I'm rolling back to my right shoulder. My feet are coming over to the side. Okay? If that makes sense to you, what we can do is we can practice the rock and roll from the ground here. So you're sitting down, one foot is up. If my left hip is on the ground, it means my right leg is up. I'm gonna go to my right shoulder, lifting my feet up over my head. My hands are gonna go right here, okay? They're gonna try to touch the ground. Just doing a rock and roll, okay? Practice that a few times, okay? This is the start of our backward shoulder roll. A backward shoulder roll is the exact opposite of a forward shoulder roll, okay? I hope this makes sense. I'm saying okay a lot because it's a hard one to teach over the internet, okay? Saying okay again. All right, so rock and roll, shoulder to hip, right shoulder to left shoulder to right hip, okay? So here's the other one. I'm on my right hip. I'm rolling back to my left shoulder and back down. Back down. All right. You should, as you do this, you should start to feel like if you went faster, you pop right over that shoulder and end up on the other side. So if we do our rock and roll again, and this time, as we reach back, as we roll backwards towards our shoulder, we put our hands and we look towards our hands and we swing our feet to the side, right? So I'm doing this, bringing my feet to the side. If I bring my feet hard enough over my head, I'm gonna end up actually doing this roll. So ready? Hands are to the side. I'm sitting on my left hip. Sitting on my left hip. I'm gonna aim for my right shoulder. That means I'm reaching this way. I'm doing my rock and roll, but I'm just gonna keep lifting my feet and I'm gonna get my head out of the way. Ready? I did a roll. Look at that. All right, so important little safety thing. This move, your head should come nowhere near the ground, all right? It is close because you're going over your shoulder, but you're keeping it to the side. So you're tucking your head way over to the side. Your hands are here. Now, parents, if you're helping your kids try this move and they need a little bit extra boost to get around, here's what you're gonna do, ready? You're gonna be extra careful. You're gonna make sure the ground's super soft. You're gonna make them practice their shoulder roll going forwards a whole bunch until it's like looks really easy for them, okay? Then they're gonna practice the rock and rolls that I talked about, okay? Once they've done the rock and rolls that I'm talking about, as they roll backwards, so they're from their hip to their shoulder, right when they get to this position, you'll be standing next to them and you grab onto their hips. Why do we grab their hips? Because their hips have a good amount of weight and they will help us pull them to finish. Now, when I say pull them to finish, I mean we're gonna lift up. When we lift up, we keep their head away from the ground, okay? Now, if you've never practiced spotting a roll before, parents, I'm talking to you. If you've never practiced spotting a roll before, you probably shouldn't, okay? I don't want you to hurt your kids. So, that being said, don't hurt your kids. Don't practice spotting without somebody there that knows what they're doing. But if you think that you can, it's all in the hips, okay? Helping them move their feet over to the side so that their head doesn't come near the ground. Do not do this unless they actually understand what's happening and they just need a little bit of help. Cool. I hope that makes sense there. So, for this backwards roll, We're starting just sitting, all right? We'll do a rock and roll here, sit up tall. Rock and roll, sit up tall, and then we're gonna try rock and roll and go back. So we're gonna do 3 rock and rolls. The first 2 are practices, they're timers, okay? We call it timers. So you're rolling backwards, we're practicing the motion. First one, then the second one. On the third one, we're gonna put a little bit extra speed now that we're familiar, and we'll try to go over our shoulder, okay? So watch me do this and then you can try it. So we go 1, 2, 3. All right? Now if you notice, I'm landing here on my knees. That's fine. That's the first step. If you can make it to your knees, then all we need is a little more push with our hands to get to our feet. So if I want to show you that one, we're starting here. We'll do 3 rock and rolls again. 1, 2, and on this one I'm going to push harder. 3. And I end up on my feet thanks to the help of my hands. Okay? So kids, if you've ever tried a backwards roll before down a cheese mat and it was difficult for you, the backwards shoulder roll should be a little bit easier. Now, if it feels like you're banging your head against the ground, take a step back, please, and do the forward shoulder roll and practice that a whole bunch, all right? I can't stress that enough, that you cannot do the backward shoulder roll without the forward shoulder roll. And I already have a lesson on that, okay? So go back and find that. All right. This one turned out to be a little bit harder to explain than I expected, because it's kind of a tricky move, but when it makes sense, it's easy. When it doesn't make sense, it's not easy. So I apologize for that. Here's the things to remember is the rock and rolls and the shoulder roll. Always start with the rock and rolls, and then it will make you familiar with the movement we're trying to do, okay? So we're just starting from sitting. We're doing rock and roll here. Rock and roll here, and then we're going all the way over, rock and roll to here. Backward shoulder roll. If that was really easy for you, your next step is to start from standing. You're gonna do a forward roll, shoulder roll, and then a back shoulder roll. So we're starting in the same position. We're rolling, coming here, sitting down, coming back to the start, okay? That's what it should look like at the end, all right? If you were to do it from standing to standing, it'll look like this. Standing up, roll, stand up, go back down, here, okay? So if you notice, I'm standing up, I drop to one knee, I drop to my bum, I roll across my back over my shoulder, and I'm back on my feet, okay? Backwards shoulder roll. It's tricky, it's hard, it's strange, it's weird. Cool. I really do hope that made sense. I apologize if it was a bit confusing. It was confusing to teach to a computer. If we were in class, it would be a lot easier. Thanks for bearing with me. Cool. For conditioning for today, we're not doing conditioning in a strength sense. We're going to do conditioning in a skill sense. So what that means is you guys should know how to do your forward shoulder roll and your forward roll, like the gymnastics roll where you go straight over your head. What I want you to do is you're going to do 5 rolls, just standing and rolling, okay? Then we're going to do, you can choose forward roll or shoulder roll. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do jump, our broad jump, which if you don't remember the broad jump, go look back at my lessons. All right, go back, check it out, see what it's about. But we're going to do broad jump, landing, and rolling. Looks like this. Ready? So broad jump forwards, land, shoulder roll, and repeat. Okay? So all we're doing is jump forwards, land, and roll. I want you guys to do that 5 times, okay? So 5 normal rolls, 5 broad jump to roll. If you understood the backwards roll and it seemed to work for you, I want you to do that one 5 more times as well. Cool. Thanks for tuning in to today's live stream. Things to look forward to. We are working on, all right? We are working on Zoom classes. That means that you and I will be able to see each other. So I will be able to see you as well, okay? Which will help with teaching because I can give you something to do, I can watch you do it, and I can give you immediate feedback. Cool. We're working towards that. Look for it in the future, all right? Keep your eyes out. Number 2 is going to be less live classes and more pre-recorded classes, just for time's sake and scheduling sake. But this also can mean that things will be a little bit, I don't know, they'll seem less spontaneous. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it will help us iron out some of the things that we need to iron out as far as teaching online. Number 3 is going to be 2 classes of mine. I'm going to be starting 2 fitness classes. One of them is going to be a workout class where we are going to work out using pretty much just body weight. It is going to be focused towards kids and families. So mom and dad, you guys can jump in. Brothers, sisters, anybody can jump in. So keep an eye out for that. And the second one is going to be a stretch class where we're going to do some stretches following that fitness class. Okay? Cool. Those are things that are happening. Thank you. We will see you on Thursday. Have a great day.